Hi, Rex Bear here. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing wonderful. How about you, sir?
Oh, fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, I'm very humble and very proud to be a part of something so huge.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I've been following your shots on Facebook for quite some time now. I know that somebody we've had on the Leak Project before, we had Bob on, and he showed
Bob
some.
Evans?
Yeah, and he showed some really good pictures that you
Yeah,
had.
he's a dear friend of mine.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. So what I was thinking we could do today, Theresa, because you're not able to get onto Skype, I had to call you on your landline, is
But I can have access to Facebook, so I can still get on there and help out.
Awesome. So, yeah, you've got a great Facebook page. You're also on YouTube, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. And so you basically are out there in Mesa, Arizona.
Yes, that's correct.
And you...
Location is the key.
Uh-huh. Right.
I mean, that's something that people need to understand, Rex, because there's something called the Coriolis effect, which is the line of sight. I mean, to think about it, if people are saying they can't see this, well, they're not in the right location. It's coming up from the southern hemisphere. So if you're standing on the North Pole, you're not going to see what's underneath the belly of the Earth.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are still in denial and can't believe that it's there, but it's there. I just happen to be in an outstanding location, just like Flagstaff, Arizona has the Lowell Observatory. That's a sweet spot. So that's why I get such fantastic shots.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been actually looking for Planet X?
Well, June last year, I heard about it on Facebook, and I started looking at the Nibiru groups, and I discovered Samuel Hoffman's page, Montana Skywatchers, and I learned from him. I've been following him for a year. I just took my own pictures, and people were telling me what I was getting. Sometimes I don't always know what I get in my pictures, but I know there's things there. I can tell when I look at the sky, the colors look different to me here. The colors are changing. I see hues of indigos. I see hues of green around the sun. I see blues. I sometimes see stripes in the sky, like dark rays of light. You might say like dark rays. And it's weird. But
now,
I think
what's the elevation out there, Theresa?
I'm not quite sure, but we can find out right now. I think it's in the 30.
Around 3,000 feet, somewhere around there?
I would imagine.
Okay.
Do you know where southwest Arizona is, near Phoenix?
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with the area.
Okay, that's the area I'm near. I'm in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I'm near Tempe, Glendale, Chandler region.
You know, one thing I noticed is it looks like the elevation out there in Mesa is about 1,243 feet approximately, at least in some areas. I just pulled it up right now. When I went out just yesterday, I had a chance to go out to the McDonald Observatory, which is close to Big Bend, Texas. It's a very secluded area, and they have certain flight paths that have to go around that location because of the amount of telescopes and stuff that they have out there. So I was getting some footage of the sun, and it looks completely different in that area versus someplace like Mesa. The night before, they do a whole bunch of chemtrail spraying. I've noticed a lot of your pictures. They just blast the skies with these...
Chem bomb the heck out of it.
Literally, yeah. And it's, obviously causing certain things to go on with the sun and reflections and refractions and light sources, and you're going to see these incredible sunsets and stuff in the sky that you wouldn't on other places that aren't chemtrailed as bad. But I've also noticed that it's a lot more extreme in places where they chemtrail the sun, the way that it looks. And some of these images that you've got are just the sunsets and the sun coming up is just so extreme. It's just absolutely
It's a double
incredible.
sunrise, and sometimes it looks like a triple sunset in the evening. I mean, I kid you not, if you come out here and you look out here in the east, when the sun comes up, an hour before the sun comes up, and I take a picture, you get this huge, massive light source. And if you look behind you in the west where the sun sets, there's a huge light source across right behind me as well. I mean, the light, it's all lit up all around, and there's a red, pink look along the horizon. It's from the red oxide of the system. It's that red oxide gas. It's all around our atmosphere.
Now, do you notice on days that they spray a lot out there, do you feel different? Do people around you notice they feel different?
It affects my breathing. It affects my husband's breathing. I mean, I feel fatigued more. The days when they spray, sometimes I feel like there's something sitting on my chest. That's part of Agenda 21, for them to spray us to death with chemtrails and kill us off.
Well, and the thing about the chemtrails, there's probably multiple reasons for them.
And they're trying to hide the truth from what's up there. They're trying to hide what's in the sky. And see, and that's when I pay attention the most, was when they're spraying, because I know it's obvious. It's just so obvious. And sometimes they fail when they spray. They don't even hide it. Sometimes it's just, hello, it's right there in your face. How can you not see this?
Well, now, how much time a day do you typically spend out there getting footage? Do you do more photos than video, or is it kind of 50-50?
It's a 50-50. I mean, I do it. I'm at it daily. I do this daily. Here, I haven't been doing it as much, only a few times a day because it's been so hot. But when I'm like out there multiple times a day before sunrise, after sunrise, during sunset, after sunset. I try to get out there at different times of the day, multiple times a day. As long as I'm able, I'm out there.
Now, do you have a lot of other people that you work with as well in Mesa, or are you kind of a solo?
I'm by myself, but I have a friend of mine. Her name is Catherine Rizel, a.k.a. Rusalka Woodvine. She's a dear, great friend of mine. She helps me with the scientific understanding. She's the one that explained to me about the Coriolis effect and how your location is the key. So she helps. She's on Facebook too. She's been who's who, and she's been in medicine, and she's done a lot in her career, and she's a very big researcher. So she helps me with a lot of the technical understanding. She sent me a bunch of notes to look back on, so I don't stumble on myself, but I feel like I just did anyway.
Is it more intense out there now as far as the light on your skin versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Are you from Mesa?
I grew up in California.
Okay.
But I lived here for a long time. The heat is a prickly, hot, burning heat.
Now, tell our audience a little bit about yourself, Theresa. For those that might want to check out your videos on YouTube, I'd recommend just going to YouTube, typing in Theresa Caldwell, and then your channel comes up, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
what do you want to know?
Well, I mean, what's your story? You're from California, and then you...
I grew up in Southern California, and then I moved to Arizona as an adult. I've been living here in Mesa now since 2009, so far to now. I mean,
time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I discovered the Nibiru system on Facebook, like I said, and at first I was a naysayer too. I was like everybody, well, I can't see this, I don't know. So I started doing my own research and my own homework, and I started looking at Carlos Ferrata's work. I follow his research. He's the one that said that Nibiru is like a comet/planet because it has a tail. You know, and I listen. Bob Evans has helped me with his photos, and just learning and reading and taking my own pictures. I'm also an artist. I do a lot of drawing.
Okay. And you draw stuff on Nibiru and Planet X now?
Sometimes I get the winged disc in there.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, let me ask you this, as far as the way that once you've realized in your mind that this Planet X does exist.
Oh, I know it's real.
Okay. And a lot of these images that are out there, sometimes the pictures, you'll see these anomalies that look bigger in the skies versus other times. Sometimes they're more transparent. Sometimes they're different colors. And if you can't describe them off as lens flares, and if they are the same planet, why do you think they change so much as far as in the images go?
Because of the orbit. There's 7 huge titans. There's 10 moons and 3 suns, to my knowledge, to this system. I can't tell you all the names because I don't remember them all. But there's Saru, Statum, Matum, Uri, Napacidi, and I think Matum. I think I got them. But you know what? I'm noticing they rotate. These huge orbitals are rotating around our planet like every couple of hours, and they're massive. And with these massive orbitals, we get volcanic activity, we get massive earthquakes, we have a pole. This is what's causing the pole shift. This is the same thing that caused the Great Flood back in the days of Noah. This is the same thing. And the government knows about this. Why do you think they built those bunkers with our tax dollars? They don't want to reveal the truth to us.
Now, another thing, too, that I've wondered is if we've gone through this before just based on the way that the Earth moves in the solar system and other planets, moons, suns, etc. And you talk about these possible 3 different suns and such. Could you tell our listeners, if they wanted to get that information, where your source was with that?
Carlos Ferrada and Samuel Hoffman is where I've gotten a lot of my information.
Okay.
Carlos Ferrada was a Chilean astronomer who was studying this system, and that's who but he's passed away. But that's some of the best research I can go by. And from Samuel Hoffman, his Facebook page, Montana Skywatcher, those are my best reliable sources. Those, and Gil Broussard, I would trust his work, I would have to say.
I've had Gil on the show a couple of times.
And then there's Marshall Masters, of course.
Uh-huh.
I would have to say his work because I researched what he's done a little bit. And then, of course, the petroglyphs in Egypt show the winged disc in there, and it's all come together. It's all coming together. This is like a biblical thing that's taking place. This is the end of days coming. This is going to cause mass destruction, and the only way to even think about saving yourself is to accept the Creator and get right with the Father, and that's all we can do, and prepare and warn. You know, when I found out about this, I was a heathen and I didn't believe in the Creator. I repented August last year, just before the blood moon, and I realized this is true. This is really taking place. I asked the Father for a purpose. He made me a watchman, sir. And I have done it diligently, daily basis for the last year. It has been exactly 1 year almost to the day that I started this. And it has given me such great joy to be part of something so huge. And I ask for nothing, just for a job well done.
Well, it's always nice to know that people appreciate your work, especially when you put so much time and effort into things. So, certainly much appreciated. I'm sure that all of our listeners that follow Planet X and are looking for the truth, and when they find those little gems, and I've looked through many of your photos, and as much good stuff that's out there, I still do my best to stay agnostic on the subject as possible, meaning I don't know. And even it's to the point now with there's so much stuff that they spray in the atmosphere, and there's so many different variables to possible solutions and problems, etc., that I almost have to take everything and just look at it with a grain of salt, saying, okay, well, they could be trying to cause this big wag the dog scenario by creating this fear-based scenario of Planet X being very close and getting close to the end of days, or they could be doing the opposite, where they're trying to steer people away from it and say, no, there's nothing to worry about, go back to sleep, etc. And maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I certainly.
Well, I've read articles that say that the magnetosphere is failing and our poles are shifting. Our North Pole has already shifted and moved. It's not true north anymore.
And we're all still here, thankfully, and
yes,
things are still,
thankfully.
you know what I mean? So
yes.
that's why I think that it's nice to be, it's always good to be prepared, right? It's always good to have that game plan where if things hit the fan, and you've got to be able to protect your family with resources, supplies, and know how to get through certain situations. That's always important. People spend so much money on health insurance, car insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, supplemental insurance, yet a lot of people don't have
Personally, I think a lot of that is a waste of money.
Right?
Some of it's a waste of money, if you ask me.
That's why it's good to have insurance where, hey, if something does hit the fan, you have water, you have food, you have supplies, you have resources. That's always good insurance as well. So that's why I brought that up. And have you yourself been more prepared of the possibility? Because you think we're getting close to the end time. So what do you think happens then? Where do we go from here?
The judgment of mankind. That's what's coming. It's the judgment. If you read the Bible, Revelation, and it talks, and it's the judgment is falling upon mankind. I'm not a Bible thumper. I don't know the word real well, but I do understand it enough that it shows me what's happening in our world, even with everything else that they're trying to distract us from, by all the distractions that are going on around us to keep us from seeing the truth. It's all coming together. It's just all biblical unfolding. It's biblically unfolding. This is a biblical event. And I don't know how else to put it into words, sir.
Well, you certainly don't need to call me sir. Just call me Rex.
All right, Rex.
But, I tell you, I appreciate your theories and opinions and beliefs, and I've certainly read Revelation more times than any other book in the Bible. I think there's 66 books in the King James Version or the New International Version of the Holy Bible. I've had an opportunity to read many scriptures and ancient texts that aren't in that specific canon. And there's a lot of stuff out there that points to a Nibiru wing destroyer or something, that there's these catastrophes that tend to happen, almost like resets on the planet.
And if you think about it, too, in every other culture that has existed, they have a winged disc scenario in their cultures. If you look at, like, the Mayans and the Indians and other cultures around the world, they all have a destruction story. They all tie together in somehow.
So
does that make sense?
Oh, it certainly makes sense. And let's jump back to Revelation for a minute. I've read that, like I said, more times than any of the other books. It's fascinating. It talks about these locusts with iron breastplates that go around stinging people, and many feel that those are drones or helicopters. Talks about the mark of the beast, and some people speculate that that's the Social Security number because it says it's in your head. Some people speculate it's a microchip they implant in your right hand. I don't know what that is.
I think it's the microchip, if you ask me. If that's what you're asking, I'll tell you, I think it's the microchip.
Well, and there's certainly the possibility.
Well, eventually you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have one.
Well, can you with Social Security? I guess. It's a lot more difficult, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. It's certain, incredibly, the times that we live in, Theresa, and I really appreciate all these images because you've got so many different ones over a course of a year, and you probably got over 1,000 pictures, don't you?
But between my old Facebook account and the one I use now, I'm friends with myself on Facebook, so if you want to go back and see my old stuff, you can. I just got blocked. Facebook kicked me out my old page, so I'm on this other one now. But I probably have over 100,000 uploads total between all my pages and between sharing in groups. I mean, hundreds of thousands of pictures probably by now in a year's time.
Let me ask you this. When do you think the implications of forced Mark of the Beast will take place?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, I honestly have no. I don't know.
Well, and you think that we're in the end times, right?
I think it's already happening. I honestly think that these people have already started taking the microchip, and then you have all these people they're into transhumanism. There's transhumanisms out there, people who trying to become like cyborg. I mean, I was watching this on Ancient Aliens the other night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are people doing to themselves?
Oh, yeah, I had a guest on a few weeks ago, Zoltan Istvan, real nice guy. He's actually running for president, and he's the main candidate for the transhuman movement. He's pushing this transhuman Bill of Rights. And first of all, I just want to say he's a great guy, and I appreciate everybody's beliefs. And I'll tell you, though, if you talk to him or many people that look at somebody that's been microchipped as very anti-Christ-like, you might get kind of spooked out about what he had to say. It was a very interesting interview, and for those that have a chance to listen to us here today with this podcast, if you go to leakproject.com, just look for the Zoltan Istvan interview. It's free. You can listen to that and what he has to say. He's actually been microchipped, and they had video footage of him doing it, and he doesn't have the same beliefs, though, that many Christians do. He's atheist, and he wants to live forever, so he's really pushing in a physical body, I should say.
Yeah.
And, hey, I think that's great. It's nice that everybody has their own beliefs. Personally, I wouldn't want to be microchipped just because of...
Me neither, Rex.
I don't really see the need to have a microchip in my hand. I've already got enough tracking with the cell phones and everything else.
Exactly.
So, but hey, I can appreciate his opinions. Now, that's one of the things that I do see a lot of people really being more separated from religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs even. And religion, to me, Theresa, I think that religion can be used as one of the most manipulative forms of mind control in the world, yet oftentimes religion can be used to help people get closer to God, and I think that that's great.
Okay, that's why I don't follow organized religion, because there's so much fallacy in all these Nimrod churches. I just follow the Creator. That's it. I don't go to a building to worship my Father. I don't need to, because it's not the building, it's His children. That's my view. That's my view, and those are my feelings.
That's great. Now, what's next for you, Theresa? Are you going to join? Are you going to start any groups out there? Maybe get...
Oh, I have a page out there on Facebook called Arizona Skywatcher. I have that page I made up not too long ago. I draw, and I do a lot of drawing.
Nice. Do you have a website yet?
No, not per se. There's just just Facebook for now. And my email is terryo'connor@live.com, all lowercase, TERIOCONNOR @live. If anybody has questions.
Great.
And you guys can follow me on YouTube. I appreciate the comments and the viewers. I don't do it for myself. I do it for humanity. And because I was commanded to do so by the Father.
You know, another thing that I've noticed, maybe we could close out with this. With the Leak Project, we have guests from around the world on a wide variety of subjects. I've talked to whistleblowers in politics, the medical industrial complex, different aspects of alphabet agencies. I've talked to people that have worked with those alphabet agencies, you name it. And it seems like the one specific subject that gets trolled more than anything else or attacked more than anything else is Planet X. It's not 9/11. It's not vaccines being dangerous. It's not possibility of World War III. It's not stuff that happened in certain administrations. No, it's Planet X. It's not aliens. It's not UFOs. It's Planet X.
I noticed that, too. I get attacked a lot. I've had to block so many people on Facebook because they attacked me. As a matter of fact, it got to where one of my best friends, Facebook blocked me because a flat earther accused her of being a hacker, and she wasn't. That's a complicated story, but that's just for another conversation another day. But, yeah, I've had people attack me like crazy. As a matter of fact, someone stole my work and tried to say it was theirs. I had that happen to me.
Welcome to the internet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I blocked that person, and I don't think they can access my stuff anymore unless I'm sure that person will see this interview today, and they know who they are if they see this. I'm sure. I don't need to mention any names. I'll tell you in a conversation in an inbox at another time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I got to tell you, it's also interesting when you post certain videos, and I'm referring to myself now. I put certain videos up on Planet X, and I've been so neutral on the subject and haven't talked anything at all about extinction level events or mass chaos. Quite the opposite, actually. And they'll leave comments with, F this, F that, you're an effing fearmonger, blah, 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 blah.
I see it all the time, too. I get it sometimes, too.
It's like, I haven't said any, because I personally don't think that it is going to be an extinction level event. And I feel that we're going to thrive through this. There's always going to be hiccups along the way with 7 billion people on the planet right now. I remember back in 2011, everybody said, that, not everybody, but a lot of people said, oh man, there's only going to be 1 year left. It's, a year from now, everybody's going to be dead. And there's a lot more people here now than there was 4 years ago even. So who knows?
Well, I don't go by man's projected date. I can't go by what man says the day will be of doomsday, because nobody knows but the Creator. No one knows but the Creator is when the end of days is going to be here, but I know it's close. It's just all the signs are there, especially in the sky. They're there. And the way the governments are operating, the signs are there too. The war is all over the place. It's happening. It's just like it said it would. I mean, people need to wake up before it's too late. That's all I can say is people wake up. Look outside. Get off the TV screen. Put your video games down. Go outside and take a look around you. Wake up. That's all I can tell you. And I feel so honored that you had me on your show, Rex. Feel free to call me anytime if you ever need me.
Oh, thank you very much. It was great to have you on the show. Keep up the good work.
I will continue.
Wonderful. And I would recommend our listeners, once again, check out Theresa Caldwell on YouTube. Also, you can send her a friend request on Facebook. And just so you know, Leak Project is now doing full force, going on scene, getting video footage. We had an opportunity, just got back from our first Leak Project tour. There were some enormous sinkholes that were discussed on national news out there in Wink and Kermit, Texas. So I went out there and I got some footage. I met some people. I'll show that with you guys here later on today. Then from there, we went and checked out the Marfa lights. And folks, I got to say that was kind of a fail. I didn't see any lights except for the star constellations and about 100 other people around me gippy-gopping and going, oh, yeah, that's so cool. So I wasn't there for that long. We kind of bounced out of there. But then here's where the good stuff comes, you guys. I went to the world-famous McDonald Observatory out there close to Big Bend, where they have no chemtrails, they have no contrails, and I got some stellar footage. Not only that, but I had an opportunity to speak to somebody that's actually worked at the observatory for over 2 years. We got an exclusive interview with him. I talked to him about Planet X, chemtrails, world changes. You guys wait till you hear what he has to say. This will be uploaded later today. LeakProject.com. Make sure to subscribe and become a member at LeakProject.com, and you will have access to exclusive content. We upload shows every single day, sometimes 3, 4, 5 shows in a single day. And now you're going to have access to behind-the-scene footage. We're going on scene around the globe. Be safe, folks. Be the change you want to see. This is Rex Bear. Good night. Hi, Rex Bear here. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing wonderful. How about you, sir?
Oh, fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, I'm very humble and very proud to be a part of something so huge.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I've been following your shots on Facebook for quite some time now. I know that somebody that we've had on the Leak Project before, we had Bob on, and he showed
Bob Evans?
Yeah, and he showed some really good pictures that you had.
He's a dear friend of mine.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. So what I was thinking we could do today, Theresa, because you're not able to get onto Skype, I had to call you on your landline, is...
But I can have access to Facebook, so I can still get on there and help out.
Awesome. So, yeah, you've got a great Facebook page. You're also on YouTube, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. And so you basically are out there in Mesa, Arizona.
Yes, that's correct.
And you...
Location is the key.
Uh-huh. Right.
I mean, that's something that people need to understand, Rex, because there's something called the Coriolis effect, which is the line of sight. I mean, to think about it, if people are saying they can't see this, well, they're not in the right location. It's coming up from the southern hemisphere. So if you're standing on the North Pole, you're not going to see what's underneath the belly of the Earth.
Right.
Think about it. I mean, there's a lot of people that are still in denial and can't believe that it's there, but it's there. I just happen to be in an outstanding location, just like Flagstaff, Arizona has the Lowell Observatory. That's a sweet spot. So that's why I get such fantastic shots.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been actually looking for Planet X?
Well, June last year, I heard about it on Facebook, and I started looking at the Nibiru groups, and I discovered Samuel Hoffman's page, Montana Skywatchers, and I learned from him. I've been following him for a year. I just took my own pictures, and people were telling me what I was getting. Sometimes I don't always know what I get in my pictures, but I know there's things there. I can tell when I look at the sky, the colors look different to me here. The colors are changing. I see hues of indigos. I see hues of green around the sun. I see blues. I sometimes see stripes in the sky, like dark rays of light. You might say like dark rays. And it's weird. But
now,
I think...
What's the elevation out there, Theresa?
I'm not quite sure, but we can find out right now. I think it's in the 30...
Around 3,000 feet, somewhere around there?
I would imagine.
Okay.
Do you know where southwest Arizona is, near Phoenix?
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with the area.
Okay, that's the area I'm near. I'm in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I'm near Tempe, Glendale, Chandler region.
You know, one thing I noticed is it looks like the elevation out there in Mesa is about 1,243 feet approximately, at least in some areas. I just pulled it up right now. When I went out to, just yesterday, I had a chance to go out to the McDonald Observatory, which is close to Big Bend, Texas. It's a very secluded area. Mm-hmm. And they have certain flight paths that have to go around that location because of the amount of telescopes and stuff that they have out there. So I was getting some footage of the sun, and it looks completely different in that area versus someplace like Mesa the night before they do a whole bunch of chemtrail spraying. I've noticed a lot of your pictures. They just blast the skies with these...
Chem bomb the heck out of it.
Literally, yeah. And it's, you know, obviously causing certain things to go on with the sun and reflections and refractions and light sources, and you're going to see these incredible sun